y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative, a channel about my various creative endeavors. Today is April 12th, 2023, and this is episode 42. I'm Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative Podcast. If this is your first time checking me out, I appreciate it. If you're returning, I appreciate you coming back. Hopefully you will find something you like. These days, this channel is mostly about cross-stitch, but there's still a little bit of knitting content and occasionally some other stuff. So, pardon me. Floss tube knows already. Anyway, so it has been not quite a month since my last video. I have been not monogamous, but working on projects for longer periods of time. So I do have quite a few things to show you, but not hopefully as many as last time, I think. But anyway, Hearsay, not a lot going on work, mainly just work. This week they actually did take a week off. If you're new here, I work for the North Carolina General Assembly. I am on the central nonpartisan staff, so I work for all of them. They kind of took a spring break this week, which means they are not there in Raleigh. I took the opportunity to take a couple of days off because starting next week, crazy time is really hitting. So the next few weeks will probably be extremely busy and a lot of hours. So I decided to go ahead and take a couple of days off this week just to kind of get ready. So I've enjoyed a little bit of extra time the last few days. This past weekend was Easter, if you celebrate. The last Friday was Good Friday, which is a holiday. Anyway, that's about it for Hearsay. We have not done anything all that exciting. I've done a few little things around the house this weekend, the last few days, but largely I've just been relaxing and crafting and piddling around. So that's about it for Hearsay. So next up would be verdicts, and I actually have two verdicts. I've been actually doing a lot of cross-stitch finishes this year, which has been surprising, but so I have two more verdicts. The first one is, I finished Mr. March. This is a pattern by Charlie's Needle. It's a series of calendar gnomes. I have done January and February and now March. You'll see April in a little bit. This is on a 18 count Ada from Under the Sea Fabrics in the green tea colorway. I have not cut this fabric yet because I probably will use it for another one, and so I'll probably just leave this on here so I have the full piece of fabric as far as working in a Q-snap. Sorry. I did this in mostly fancy flosses, but I kind of did my own conversion and just pulled from what I had. You can't really see. Don't have it folded good. And couldn't really see my little froggy there. So anyway, that is Mr. March. And then I had one other verdict. Last time I recorded, I had last time I recorded, Bayou Cat had come up on my Whip Go board, and I'd said that I would probably pick it up again later this year and just finish it. But I got done with all my set goals for the month pretty early, and I decided to put some more time into Bayou Cat, and I actually finished it. So I have not ironed anything. So this is Bayou Cat. The pattern is by Owl Forest Embroidery. I bought this as a kit, so it is kit fabric, which I know is 32 count Zweigart, but I do not know the colorway. And I did this with the kit floss, which is Owl Forest Embroidery dyed floss, which is beautiful and has some nice variegation. Let me fold it in half and see if I can find a good sample. Like if you look at the blue, this was all one floss. Oops, sorry for the swinging. So, and like the green trees, you can see some variegation. So I think when I last showed this to you, I had finished the cat, and I think maybe I had done a little bit of a motif or so. I'd done a little bit of the trees underneath, I know. But anyway, so I pulled this out for another few days and finished that. I was aiming for the end of March. It actually took me till April 1st to finish it because there was a little bit more stitching than I thought. But so that's done. And that is all for verdicts. So we will move to Court is in Session. I have two knitting projects to show you. I do still have socks on the needles, but I haven't touched them since the last time I recorded it, I don't believe. Maybe once, so I'm not going to show you those. Excuse me, a project that I have shown you before that I've worked on a little bit lately. It's not going to look much different because it's a scarf. But I hadn't showed you in a while, so I figured I'd show you this. This is the zigzag scarf. And I've worked on this a couple of nights watching TV, so it's gotten longer, but that's about it. I'm doing this with Lang Yarns Dipinto, I say Dipinto, I don't know. Two different colorways that kind of complement each other, and you just alternate. You go across and back and then switch to the other yarn and cross and back, so that it kind of, you know, creates some variety of color. I have this in a library bag that is from Bags by Awesome Granny. I bought that sorry, my nose keeps itching, several years ago, and I think she had an Etsy site, but I'm not sure if she still does. The other knitting project that I've been working on is a new start. This is in a bag by Hearsay & Co. It's like suede. I can't remember the style name of this bag, and it is called the Ava Tunic. I'm trying to find the right pattern page so I can show you a picture. And it's a little, you know, tunic that could be a dress on a young kid. I am making this for my youngest granddaughter, who will be 3 in June. So I'm making the 3-year-old size. She's very small, petite for her age. So it may be more like a dress to start, but that's fine. The yarn I'm using is Cedar Cotton DK, and I'm using 4 different colors, one of which I have not gotten to yet knitting wise. Sorry, I'm trying to get it out because it's still in the bag. So these are my 4 colors. I haven't gotten to this one yet. And actually that's the order I'm doing them in. So which one is still attached? Yellow is still attached. This is a top down, and so here's what I've done so far. This is 100% cotton, so it will be good and lightweight. It's for, you know, summertime. So that's as far as I've gotten. I've just switched to the yellow, and as you can see from the picture, which I unfortunately hit again, it has a bit of a chevron to it. So the model picture is done in like 8 different colors or something. I'm just doing 4, so I'll repeat as I go down until I get to about the right length. So that's really what I've been working on most, other than the zigzag when I want something a little bit more mindless. I had to follow the pattern more for the Ava tunic. So that's all the knitting I have to show you. So let's move on to the cross stitch. The first project you saw in my last episode, it was my March full coverage focus. I did do a little bit more after I last showed you, so I'm going to show it to you again. It's called Across Winter Lake. This is what it will look like when it's finished. It is charted by Gecko Rouge and based on artwork by Joe Grundy. Gecko Rouge is a kit-only company, so you can't buy just the pattern. You have to buy like the whole kit, fabric, floss, everything. And this is not as big as some of my Hayes for sure. That's the fabric for it, so it won't be quite as much. I meant to look, and it's on my phone. I've started using a new app, and I actually started end of the year using it, but I've really, now that I've used it a while, I really enjoy it. I'm also one of the beta testers for it. Brian, who is Blitz Stitch on YouTube, he has for years had an Excel spreadsheet that he would share with anyone, which I did not use because Excel and I do not get along. But he has developed an iOS app that basically has similar functionality to his Excel spreadsheet. And it basically allows you to track your projects and, you know, your stitching time, your stitches. It calculates percentages, estimates how many days you have left of stitching, when you will finish it if you keep stitching at the same rate, assuming you stitched every day on it, that sort of stuff. I've really enjoyed using it. And it also, I mean, it gives you graphs. It'll tell you, you can do a summary report, and it'll show you how many stitches you've done on each project you've worked on that month. And there's a lot of neat features to it. So if you like tracking your stitching, I highly suggest you check it out. It's called Cross Stitch Journal. And I'll put a picture of the logo here because it's on my phone, which I'm using to record, so I can't show you at the moment. And I will try to remember to put a link below to his YouTube channel if you want to see that. And you should, if you have, it's only for iOS right now, so if you have an Apple device, if you go to the Apple store, you should find it. It's under Cross Stitch Journal, but I can't remember the exact, if it's X. I know the icon has an X on it, so I can't remember if it's X Stitch Journal or just Cross Stitch Journal. But anyway, I'll put the logo on the screen, and I'll put the name of it under his link to his YouTube channel below as well. So anyway, so I should be able to tell you like how far along I am on these projects. And I didn't think to write it down before I put my phone up to record. So maybe next time, if you're interested, let me know if you're interested in hearing like, you know, percentages and stuff, particularly on full coverage. So this is where I am. I'm not sure exactly how much. Actually, let me show you a picture of what it looked like last time. I always do this, like the first time I show a project on every episode, I forget, oh, let me show you what it looked like last time, or what it will look like when it's finished. Anyway, so hopefully by now I've showed you a picture of what it looked like last time, and here's what it looks like now. I don't recall exactly how much I did after my last episode, but right now it's pretty confetti heavy, as you can see, but I'm enjoying it. So that was something left over from March. Then we moved to April Whip Go calls. And the first one that I worked on was Sir Thomas by Glendon Place. This is a very fancy turkey. You can't see in the picture, but there's a lot of metallic thread and glitter and stuff like that. I am still undecided on whether or not I will do that corn border. I just can't decide if it is, in my opinion, somewhat fantastically horrendous. So I've decided I'm just going to do the entirety of the turkey, and I have a feeling that at that point I'll just be done and not really want to mess with the corn border, but we'll see. So here's what it looked like the last time you saw it, which was not much at all. And this was April Whip Go call. So all my Whip Goes I put at least 10 hours into. And I think I actually got closer to 11 on this. So this is where it is now. So I finished the head and worked down and started on that kind of teal-like body. And I'll see if I can get it close enough for you to see. I don't know if I can get the light on it to, if you can see some of the metallics or not, but maybe a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, so again, I'm enjoying working on him. I am doing basically metallics and stuff as I go. He does have beads as well. I will wait till the end to do all the beads. I'm not going to show you bags today because really I think seeing all of these, none of these are new, just in the interest of time. My other April Whip Go call, which I've also already completed 10 hours on, is Halloween Quaker by Leela Studio. This is what it will look like when it's finished. And this is what it looked like the last time you saw it. Sorry, I'm trying to get this so you can see it a little better. And this is where it is now. So again, 10 hours on this. I know I finished this one up here because it was, the outside edge was done, but not the inside. Down here, I think I'd done a portion of like the very, very outer edge, but I finished that one. I finished the moon, and I did all the witch, and then I did all of this one. So, got quite a bit done. I think this one's now at like 25% or something, so. That again is Halloween quake. Oh, I didn't tell you, first, this is being done on 40 count fiber on a whim heather. I'm using all the called for Classic Colorworks, except this one up here. This motif was supposed to be like in one of the blacks. I had pulled this purple in case this smoke colorway didn't show up on my fabric, which it did just fine. So I used another purple that I'd pulled just there to have not quite so much black right there in those three together. So I may use that purple a little bit more throughout, but I haven't decided yet. Sir Thomas that I just showed you, I forgot to tell you, was on 32 count smoky white. And I am using I'm using Anchor Floss on that, which is not the called for. The called for is actually Sullivan's, but it has a DMC and an Anchor conversion. I'm using the Anchor conversion. With the exception of one floss I've come across so far, there were, sorry, let's see if I can reach that again. I meant to show you this. The called for Anchor, where this light yellow is, sorry, it's hard to hold and point, was almost exactly the same color as this light tan on the outside. And so I actually swapped out to the called for DMC for that, or the, conversion called for DMC. But other than that, I'm doing the Anchor Floss conversion that is in the chart. So far, I might find some more, we'll see. And then my April full coverage, which I am still working on some, is Quarantine Cats, which will look like this when it's finished. It is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It is based on artwork by Bridget Ashwood. It looked like this the last time you saw it. I'm still working. I'm probably going to put a little bit more into this tonight. And then maybe, I don't know, I might be mostly done with it for the month. My goal on my full coverage, my goal on my full coverages each month is to get at least 2,000 stitches into them. I really should be trying to get more into them if they ever are going to be finished, but that's my goal right now. So this is where it is now. I have been working on filling in up here. If you saw from the last picture, that wasn't quite full. I've done this moon. I haven't quite, there's still some stitches around it. I've had a little more up there. And so what I do, it kind of varies from full coverage to full coverage. On Across Winter Lake, I've started working in columns of 2, so that I like, in sort of the typewriter method, where I pick the color, the block that's empty to the top, farthest to the top left, and then I work that color, one thread of that color, as far as it will go down those, wherever it appears in those 2 columns, down to like my stopping point, which is kind of wherever it fits in my Q-snap. And so that's what I've started doing on Across Winter Lake. I probably will convert to that on this, but I've just started doing that recently, so I wasn't quite in a position to do that yet on this. So what I have been doing instead is same concept of picking the one that was open top left, that color, and following down, trying to fill all this in. I had previously started that, so I add a little bit more to it one day because I needed some stitches for a challenge, and it was just easier to do all that dark blue. One of my threads carried over and started this moon, so I just felt like kind of creating the moon. But for the most part, I start, pick a thread color, and just work wherever it gets me down until the thread runs out. But I don't stick to a set area, but I fill in that area before, like some of my threads, go over here, and there's random stitches there, and that sort of stuff. I can't stand doing 5 stitches, stopping, rethreading the needle, doing 10 stitches. I just can't. I can't take it. So, I will show you this bag though, because it's a little bit different. This is from, Allegro Stitches, and I thought this was appropriate for Quarantine Cat since it's cats at the movie theater. But it's it has 2 interior vinyl pockets. So one I've got my thread in, the other is where my fabric, my pattern, my stitching goes when it's not on the Q-snap. So those were my whip go and goals, set goals for April that I'm working on. The next 2 are a couple of new starts. I started the next in the Gnome series. This is Mr. April. It's what it will look like when it's finished. Again, the pattern is by Charlie's Needle. I didn't tell you that Quarantine Cats is on 25 count potato Lugana. All my full coverages are pretty much on 25 count, most of them. Usually easy grid, but I think when I started that one, I wanted to start, and the potato Lugana was what I had. I didn't have enough easy grid, so I just started on it. Anyway, sorry, back to Mr. April. Charlie's Needle is the pattern designer. I think shown you a picture now of what it will look like when it's finished, and since this is a new start, there is not a previous photo. This is where I've gotten so far. Obviously, I stopped mid-thread. Probably, oh yeah, because I got to a stitch count I needed to finish a challenge, and I just stopped. I think it was late, and I needed to put it away and actually go read a bit. So that's as far as I've gotten right now. This is on 16 count Atomic Ranch in the Freeze colorway, F-R-I-E-Z-E, like the art plaster. I think freezes are done on plaster. Is that right? Paintings on plaster. Anyway, so I don't know if I will finish that this month, but I'm trying not to have those last more than 2 months. We'll see. The next one is another new start, and it's probably about the 3rd thing that I've started this year that I can blame on Brenda from Handwork Maniac. Handwork Maniac is her YouTube channel. Brenda's her name. I was watching her right before April 1st. I think it was, literally it was March 31st. And, and the date's important. I'll tell you why. Because, she was showing a new stitch along that she had started from Little Dove Designs. It's called the Sewing Room Stitch Along. It's like in 6 parts once a month. The first part came out March 1st. The second part came out April 1st. And I thought, oh, of course I've got to do that. So I immediately went to Little Dove Designs on Friday the 31st to purchase it, and got it just in time because I noticed that the listing said that it would close on April 1st. So I do not believe that you can get into this stitch along currently. Feel free to go to Little Dove Designs Etsy shop and be sure. I have not looked, but based on when I purchased it, I think it was going to close April 1st. I'm sure that she will release the entire pattern eventually, but for now, I believe the stitch along is closed. I will post a picture here of what it looks like through Clue 2, because it's not, she has not released the full picture yet. If I remember correctly. And since it's a new start, I don't have a previous picture. I am doing this on 28 count Picture This Plus Dwarf with the called for floss. And I have not quite finished part 1, but that's where I am. My goal is to finish parts 1 and 2 before the end of April, before part 3 comes out on May 1st. So we will see. Excuse me, I don't know why I can't seem to swallow right today, and it's not, I don't know. Anyway. And then one more, which is not a new start. I just got it at the end of my list. You've seen this one before. This is Blue Ridge Santa, which is a Mill Hill kit that will look like this when it's finished. Part of the Appalachian Santas. Excuse me. This is what it looked like the last time you saw it. And this is what it looks like now. So the little raccoon's starting to come out. I've done a little bit of the back. I don't know if you can tell. Hopefully you can't, because I really don't want to go back and do it. I did this dark brown, some of this dark brown and this gray one day, and I just really wasn't paying attention. I did it with 2 strands, and the rest of it's done with 3 strands as the pattern calls for. But I've left it for now. If when I get done it's noticeable, I may go back with and add an additional strand, just, you know, stitching with 1 strand over top of all that. But I think it's going to be fine. Even in person, it's not really, if you look hard at it, you can kind of tell that it's not quite as dense, but it's going to be an ornament on a tree. I'm not that worried about it. So, that is all of the stitching that I have to show you. On the docket, I'm hoping my 2 goals for the remainder of the month are to finish the Blue Ridge Santa I just showed you, and to get parts 1 and 2 of that sewing room sale completed before the end of the month. Hopefully, like I said, work's going to get really busy starting next week. But those are also 2 kind of smallish goals, so hopefully I'll be able to fit those in and get those done. I need to work some on some of my plan for the year had been, other than Whip Go, was to go through all of my existing projects in order of start date and get at least 500 stitches on them. And I have been kind of doing that. Next up for that would be O Feathers from Rosewood Manor. But I've been thinking that I have five projects that I started before this year that were not on my Whip Goes. And that were not full coverage, because I'm doing those separately, that I probably ought to rotate through those first at least and get at least 500 stitches, since they're not going to get Whip Go called, because whatever that gets called in Whip Go will get at least 10 hours anyway. And then maybe go back and start working through some of the others. We'll see. So I may work on O Feathers, or I may instead work on some of those 5 that are left off the Whip Go board. And they were left off the Whip Go board because they weren't as large. So what I may do is work through those, and instead of the 500 stitches, work on them a little longer and see if I can get some of them either finished or closer to a finish. So we'll see. Also, I don't know, Bayou Cat, which I finished, was actually on my Whip Go board on a number that has not yet been called. So I've been debating what to do about that, whether to slot in another project now or to wait and just pick a project at the time to put 10 hours on. I'm leaning towards right now just waiting, and I'll kind of maybe use that for whatever I feel like 10 hours on at the time. We'll see when it's called. So, excuse me. So that is all of the stitching and crafting, and now it's time for stitching for retirement. Stashing for retirement. Sorry, I can't even talk today. Okay, stashing for retirement. We'll start first with like the clubs and subscriptions I have. This was the March fabric from see if I can get it out of here without making too much noise, but there's also tape. So come on. I am doing an Atomic Ranch Fabric Club through Stitch New England, which is Pam. She has a floss tube, which is called Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. I'm getting 32 count, and this was the March fabric, which was Vapors. I am doing something else on this colorway from Atomic Ranch, and I think 36 count, and I can't remember what. I'm looking at my list online right now. My Autumn Cloche is on 40 count Atomic Ranch Vapors. So anyway, a great neutral, like, it's like a really, really pale grayish blue, I guess is the best way to describe it. And I also got my floss clubs from Pam for April. Floss comes first of the month. Fabric comes second half of the month. There's no set date. So I got Classic Colorworks, Again, I get 10 of these. They come in alphabetical order. Sorry. Weeks Dye Works. Oh, come on. Sorry, I should have taken these out. Do this every time, where I should take them out ahead of time. All very greens and blue. I like the combo. Like, again, it's always kind of interesting to me to see just alphabetically how they kind of go together. But and then I get MPI. I get 5 in numerical order, and then 1 of the Northern Lights. And so this time they are in the trying to see the color range, the berry red range, and then a Northern Lights. So I won't take those out of the plastic. And then other fabric. So I joined the Barefoot Needle Arts, which is a shop in Surfside, South Carolina, which is just south of Myrtle Beach. They are the ones that put on the retreat that I've been to in Myrtle Beach a couple of times. Amy and Memory are the owners, and Amy dyes fabric. And she is doing a quarterly fabric club this year. And I signed up for that because I kind of got a little sneak peek at this piece of fabric in February. And I got the first quarter shipment. This is, the colorway is called Spring Seas, and I'm getting 32 count with them as well. 36 count is my sweet spot. I like 40 count a lot too, but I decided I needed some more 32 count in my stash for things that, you know, need beads and stuff that you can't really do on smaller than 32 count, and the beads fit right. And just sometimes, you know, you want a bigger piece or something. So anyway, as I said, this is called Spring Seas, and it's really pretty. Blues and browns, and I love it enough that I just placed an order from them for a couple of things, and I also ordered a piece of 36 count in this fabric, even though I had the 32 count. So she did have a little bit on her website of this colorway. If you had not joined the quarterly club and want to get a piece, there may still be some on there, and that's barefootneedlearts.com, I think. Bestitch Me, I got my fabric of the month for March, which was Ledger. I alternate between the colored and the neutral, and this was a neutral. This is really pretty, blues and yellows. So I get 36 count from her. And then she had a Friday night fight night a couple weeks ago, and I bought some fabrics through that, and I also won one of the giveaways that she does after that. The giveaway fabric that I won is vintage in 28 count linen, which just is a nice neutral. It's got a pinky tinge to it. I'm not sure if I don't think the color's coming up very well, but there's definitely a pinky beige tinge to it. So it's got a little more color in it than you're seeing. And then the ones that I bought at Fight Night, I got a couple of more Adas. And so this is a 20 count Ada that does not have a colorway name. And like blues. Trying to find the right. That's probably good, pretty good color wise. And a 22 count Ada in the whimsical colorway, which is definitely not showing up. There we go. That's better back here. That's a little bit better. It's actually a little bit more vibrant than that, but that's about as good as my phone will do. So, and then I got a 40 count linen in winter blues. I believe I had this in a 36 count from Club. So that's really pretty. That's just my color. Here, that's a little bit more vibrant. It's definitely a little more bright than it's showing on the camera. And I got a 36 count linen that does not have a colorway name, but is more of a brown beigey neutral. So, and again, That is a little darker than, well, that's a little bit better. A little darker than it's showing, but very pretty. So that is all my fabrics. What else did I get? So I got from Stitch New England, I have an auto ship for the Snowman Collector Series from Cottage Garden. I got the Scarecrow, which is number 5, and I always get the fancy floss that goes with it. These next 2, kind of 3, were market releases that I originally did not pre-order, and the more I looked at them, the more I had to have them. The first one is Every Opening Flower by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And this one is Call 'Em a Name. I do not need to start another pattern. I do not. But the last of the floss that I need for this will be here today. Gassed Brethren Blue was like missing in action, and I finally found it on Garon Stitchery, so I have an order coming from them today that will have the blue I need, and I have all the rest of the floss. I just have to pick out a piece of fabric, but I should definitely be able to pick out something I have from Stash, and that may be getting started sooner rather than later. The other 2 is, I have never gotten these before, but I think I'm really going to like this one. This is Summer House Stitchworks, The Fragments in Time 2023. And I got the first 2. The name of the theme this year is Berlin Woolwork. And I just really like I liked these first 2. So I haven't gone on auto ship anywhere. I'll see. I mean, I plan right now to get all of them. But, you know, if the next one come out and I don't like them, then I won't. In trying to get all the floss together for Every Opening Flower, Pam did not have everything, all of it. So I went to Barefoot Needle Art to get what she didn't have, or most of what she didn't have. And of course, I couldn't just order like 2 skeins of floss. That's impossible. So I got this pattern. Amy, one of the owners of Barefoot Needle Arts, also designs patterns. And I had seen this one and not gotten it, and, you know, decided I had to have it. So this is Cardinal Way, which is just, it's just really cute. So I think the little sign says Cardinal Way. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know when I'll do that, but I'll probably do that on and make a little pillow or something out of it. And then I got Plum Street Samplers Yuletide Delivery. And this is one that came out last year that I've just looked at several times and finally decided to get. And then last but not least is, I have seen lots of floss tubers show this pattern. It's silly, but I love it, and I finally caved and had to buy the darn Christmas mousse. So I ordered this. I don't remember now where I got this. Yeah, I can't remember where I ordered this from, but it's Christmas mousse. It's a Panna kit. You know, it's got the floss and fabric. I will probably do, I'll probably just do it on the kit fabric, which is, I think, a 14 count Aida, maybe a 16 count Aida, 16 count Aida. So, I love the, roving they're using as a little chin. I don't know. It's just adorable. So I finally caved. And, of course, I really want to start that one, too. But I think Every Opening Flower will get started before that. So, anyway, that is it for Sashing for Retirement. The only thing else, calendar. Not much going on. Like I said, work will probably be busy the next few weeks. There is, if you are in North Carolina-ish, we're not super strict about it. There is a North Carolina Stitchers group on Facebook that, oh my God, I can't believe I can't think of her name. Oh, it'll come to me eventually, and I will put it across the screen, both her name and her floss tube name, because I can picture her clear as day, and her name won't come to me. This is what happens when you get old. Sorry. Anyway, with the last beach retreat, the person whose name I cannot remember at the moment, Renee, there it goes, Renee. Renee started a North Carolina Stitchers Facebook group. And I don't think we're too picky. I mean, you know, if you live, like Amy and Memory who live in, you know, Myrtle Beach area are part of it. And there's a couple people I think from like Southern Virginia, you know, several people who are close to the border or kind of close enough to North Carolina. We're not, you can live in California for all we care, but it's called North Carolina Stitchers. Anyway, someone in that group, and I can't remember who that is, but has created an event that there's some people getting together in Durham on May 7th, just to stitch for the afternoon. So if you're in the Durhamish area and interested in that, join the North Carolina Stitchers. You can see the event there. I'm not going to give you all the information. You'll need to join the group to do that. But so I may be at that. I'm planning to be at that. Depending on how exhausted I am. Our crossover deadline is currently set for May 4th. And that's just the big deadline that's going to cause all the craziness here at work the next few weeks. They're saying they're not going to move it. Historically, what will happen is they'll work us to death till about May 2nd, and then they'll say, oh, we're going to move it to May 11th, in which case I may be working the whole weekend of May 7th. And if not, if they keep it on May 4th, I may be too exhausted on May 7th to drive to Durham. But assuming I have the energy and am in the mood, I'm probably going to go to that. Other than that, my only other plans, you know, are not till the fall. I'm doing the Queen City retreat in October, and also I will be at SAF in October. There may be other things that come up between now and then, but those are all that I have planned. So that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, I appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Leave me a comment, or if you have any questions. I also should have mentioned anything I forgot to tell you about my cross-stitch projects. At least I have a spreadsheet that is linked below that's Google Doc, that will tell you, you know, pattern name, designer name, fabric, that sort of stuff. Also, if you are curious about any of the knitting projects, I have all of those on Ravelry. Again, my username is Legal Eagle, so you can see more about yarn, needle size, that sort of stuff, or you know, links to the pattern, that sort of thing. But if you have any other questions that I haven't addressed, feel free to ask them below, or just comment. And I appreciate you checking me out. And hopefully I will see you again in May sometime. Bye, y'all.